I thought he was saying between the lines, this Johnny is something else.
Oh.
And he's trying to tip his cap, or his helmet in this case, to the incumbent quarterback who had 3 really good football games last year for his home area, Browns, because Hoyer's from the neighborhood. But in this case, I thought he was saying, and this was the money line for me at the bottom of these quotes, you didn't have time to get to this one, but what's going to happen in a game, he's talking about Johnny, will be different. It will be different. Johnny can't show his stuff in practice quite as well as B. Hoyer can show his stuff in practice, obviously because B. Hoyer knows the playbook way better than Johnny. So I keep reading these reports that after 2 practices, Brian Hoyer is way ahead of Johnny Manziel. Well, let's see what starts happening when they scrimmage, or when, God forbid, they play an exhibition game. Maybe 2 or 3 or 4 exhibition games. Let's see what Johnny starts doing, when he can operate, when he can use his rare quickness and escapability and that live arm that he has, which is at least as good as Brian Hoyer's arm.
Got it.
Johnny's way more talented than Brian Hoyer. And the last thing I want to tell you is, I just happened, because I was stuck on the treadmill, to watch all of Johnny's Saturday interview live from training camp. I got to tell you, and again, I'm a Johnny football fan. From my heart, objectively, it was spellbinding, because I've never seen a rookie quarterback be more confident and commanding of an interview in early camp than this kid can. And you've seen him talk before. His maturity
him talk before,
is off the charts.
We're going to sit here and
listen,
talk about how impressive he was in an
listen,
interview.
you know, if you had seen it, you would know what I'm talking about, because he was commanding in a way of we. It wasn't me. He talked like he was the leader of the football team, and the vets, it will translate to. Trust me.
Somebody that has seen him at numerous basketball games, talking to him there, had dinner with him in Miami, etc. He's always like that to me. I don't see a different Johnny Manziel than other people see. I see a person that is highly intelligent, that is incredibly comfortable in his own skin, and his struggle is getting other people to be comfortable with who he is, because he ain't trying to change. He may be trying to grow. He may be trying to be a bit more responsible. You can't go and take flights to Vegas all the time and all of this other stuff. But in terms of the essence, the core of who he is, he ain't changing.
Okay. And all that matters now is, can he play?
Can he play?
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. So when I look at it, I get where Nate Burleson's coming from, and I understand that. I don't like seeing how miniature Johnny looks behind that offensive line in Cleveland, but I will say to you that, you know, I do think about Fran Tarkenton, who took the Minnesota Vikings to 4 Super Bowls in the 70s, and the kind of miniature dude that he was, and he could scramble around and make
I don't see
happen.
the comparison,
but
go ahead.
But I'm just saying, in terms of the penchant for willing to scramble and making plays, extending plays. See, I can see Johnny Manziel doing stuff like that, which is something that I think is going to be special about him. But I keep going back. I'll go back to the ESPYs when I ran into Cam Chancellor. And Cam Chancellor and all these, everybody was raving about Johnny Manziel. Look, man, brother looked good. He looked like he could play, blah, blah, blah. And Cam Chancellor sitting there all quiet. And then finally, after Von Miller and everybody else is talking, Cam Chancellor just chimes in and says, he ain't get hit yet. You know? And it's the NFL, man. You know, and it's real. That's all I'm trying to say. So, look, then I look at Hoyer, and let me bring him up, because it's important to bring this up. This is not a dude who appears to have a completely different personality than Johnny. He just appears to be a little bit more mature, because he didn't have the shine that Johnny had, and more importantly, he has to work his way up. But Burleson talked about his swag as well, and it seems to me like Hoyer's on this mission. Look, man, you ain't coming in here to take this job. You're gonna have to take it, because I'm not gonna give it to you.
And he should.
And I'm just saying, but a lot of people talk that talk, but they're not the walking embodiment of it.
Sure.
That's what I get from Hoyer, because remember, when we watched Hoyer last year in Cleveland, Skip, that's what people were saying about him before they knew they were going to get Manziel. He's got a swag about him. He's got a confidence about him. He's not deferential to anybody. He's bringing the heat. My only point is that appears to be him, and if that's him, it could be more of a problem for Johnny to get that job than we think.
So is that your prediction?
Well, I think that Hoyer is going to start opening day if he's not hurt. Whether he holds on to the job or not remains to be seen, because I do believe there's going to be a short leash as the season progresses, because people are going to be clamoring for Johnny Football, and I wonder why that is.
Okay, I got one response to your Cam Chancellor story.
Yes.
I'm going to remind you that as a freshman, albeit a redshirt freshman in college football, Johnny Football went into Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and I'm sure they were saying the same thing. Those Alabama veterans who were a bunch of them were about to get drafted. Wonder how he's going to react once he gets hit for the first time in our house. And what happened?
Skip,
what happened?
That's
I'll give you another
different.
one at the end of that year.
I don't know, Skip. I mean, that's
I'm gonna
college
give
football.
you another one. Those seniors at the University of Oklahoma played Johnny that year in the Cotton Bowl. Bob Stoops, a defensive mastermind who won national championships under
I love
Spurrier.
Bob Stoops, but I
Okay.
don't consider him a mastermind.
Okay, well,
I'm talking about defensively.
That's where he made his
He's a
way in
mastermind
college
when it comes to
football.
winning. But
Okay, he's
I
a
see
defensive football coach.
Oklahoma's been suspect defensively sometimes.
Okay, but they had Trevor Knight impersonate Johnny
Yes,
Football during the week.
yes.
And by halftime, the veterans are telling both the Stoops coaches, the two brothers, we didn't know it was like this, Coach. He was making them look silly. So I'm just saying, I know this is big boy football. I know we're going up a level. I still think he'll make some of them look silly. And I'm with you. I think this coaching staff and this GM have already decided it's Hoyer's job on game one.
Yep.
And I think that is dead wrong because he will prove them wrong.
But what's the problem with that? See, this
They're
is what
more
I don't,
comfortable
but,
with-
this is
with
what
the
I don't
other guy.
understand. This is what
Yeah.
I don't understand about you. What is wrong? Johnny Football has not played a day in the NFL. What is wrong if Hoyer outplays him in preseason?
I don't think he will.
I'm not saying that. I understand your point because I totally agree with you if he would outplay Hoyer. But if Hoyer outplays him, Skip, what is the problem? Johnny Football is not going anywhere. What's the problem with him having to wait his turn, even if it's half a season? If you are not, for you to take the job away from the incumbent, you should have to take the job.